Good morning. Thanks for being here. I'm Stephen Romo in for Joe in Savannah today. And we begin with the bone-chilling temperatures set to grip the Rockies and northern plains today, right on the heels of a winter storm that swept eastward across the South over the weekend. At least 9 people are dead in Kentucky. Another died in Georgia after torrential rain triggered severe flooding. More than 1,000 people had to be rescued from rising waters. And this morning, tens of thousands remain without power. Meanwhile, multiple tornadoes were reported in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. In the Northeast, hundreds of flights were canceled because of sleet and heavy snowfall, with more snow potentially on the way. We have full team coverage with meteorologist Tevin Wooten standing by with the latest forecast. But first, let's go to NBC News correspondent Kathy Park in Kentucky for more on the deadly flooding.
Hey, Stephen, good morning to you. Yeah, parts of the South are now in recovery mode after a weekend of wild weather. Here in Kentucky, we saw up to 6 inches of rain, and that caused rivers and creeks to overflow. Behind me, you're taking a look at the North Fork of the Kentucky River, and it is still running pretty high this morning. The governor reported that all counties in the state were impacted by these storms, and there were over 1,000 rescues this weekend. Unfortunately, he also reported at least 9 fatalities. Most of these tragedies happened as people were driving into the high waters. Meanwhile, it wasn't just Kentucky, but Tennessee also saw some significant flooding as well. In Obion County, Tennessee, a levee broke and flooded out entire neighborhoods. And also, we tracked a destructive tornado in Alabama as well. Meanwhile, up north, several inches of snow fell in portions of New England. And this morning, hundreds of thousands of customers in the mid-Atlantic and throughout the Northeast are without power this morning. Now, the cold air, that Arctic air, is settling in starting tomorrow.
Santorini, one of the most beautiful islands in Greece, usually swarming with tourists, now a virtual ghost town. After several days of near constant earthquakes hitting the island, perched on the rim of an ancient volcano, residents are fleeing in droves. Since Saturday, hundreds of small and medium quakes shaking the island and its people's resolve.
Our Santorini is shaking every 10 minutes on average. A lot of earthquakes. There is concern.
In the past 2 days, at least 10 earthquakes above magnitude 4.5 have hit off the coast of Santorini, known for its stunning white and blue buildings.
There have been earthquakes all the time, every 5 minutes. It is continuous. They don't stop at all. The entire island is traumatized.
The quakes so far only strong enough to rattle houses, causing minor damage and some landfalls. But the bigger concern, worry that the quakes could set off an eruption from the volcano at the center of the island. Scientists say that's unlikely, but warn a large enough earthquake could trigger a destructive tsunami. That's what happened back in 1956, when a 7.7 magnitude quake struck Santorini, destroying hundreds of houses, causing a massive 20-foot tsunami and killing upwards of 50 people. The catastrophe devastated many on the island, plunging them into poverty. This time the country says it's more prepared. The Prime Minister declaring a state of emergency on the island, but urging calm.
My job is to always err on the side of caution, and that is why we have mobilized the state infrastructure in the eventuality of a bigger earthquake.
A response team is already on the island, with search and rescue dogs to find anyone potentially trapped under the rubble. Hotels and resorts asked to drain their pools so shaking water doesn't destabilize buildings. Schools ordered to shutter for the week for safety. More than 10,000 people have fled the island since Sunday, many boarding a ferry service headed for the mainland. But even with the unnerving, constant shaking, some residents say they're not going anywhere.
We will stay here. Why should we leave? If something happens, it happens. Oh well. We are locals. We were born here.
Preferring, like some have for thousands of years, to remain on this rugged but beautiful gem of the Aegean.